What is going on, Panthers Nation? Hey, it'd be great if I actually had myself on stage, as they call it. Use StreamYard when the video ends. How are y'all doing today? So I just recorded an episode, but just like I've been doing, it's been a really crazy week. So I was like, heck, man, why don't I go live for a little minute and check in on Panthers Nation? So if you are tuning into the show, whether it is on YouTube, X, Facebook, those are the three places I stream right now. You can join the show. You can go out to any of those platforms, comment. Whoa, let's see what we got. Hey, what's up, man? Reverend Saul. And tell you what, man, Reverend Saul is that guy. He is always active on every YouTube video that I post with some really detailed and thoughtful breakdowns, Panthers. So I recommend if you do want to follow him, do that. Yeah, today, actually, before we get too crazy, I had to go back because, the thing about having X is you put stuff or I put stuff on here, and well, everybody does. But some people, you never know when things are meant as a joke or not as a joke. And for some reason, one of the posts that I put up just divulged into this world of chaos talking about the Atlanta Falcons. And what I said is when I'm trolling Atlanta, because why not? Because they're the Atlanta Falcons and whatever. So they put out a post like celebrating Kirk Cousins being signed and all that. And back and I pulled the box score of last year's game with Minnesota and Carolina, and we know that that game one we lost, like of course, but pretty much shut down Kirk. Like that game itself was kind of crappy, anyways. Like it was just a terrible game for us. But Kirk was 12 of 19, 139 yards, two touchdowns, two interceptions, QBR of 31.4. And I said, this is the Captain Kirk that we're supposed to fear. It's kind of a joke, folks. I get it. If you're starting to rank the division right now, I do think the signing of Kirk Cousins with the Atlanta Falcons does elevate them just naturally based off of the roster. And I usually don't talk about the division teams. I do have a few guys, Saints guys that I've collabed with on a podcast before on their podcast, and Saints guys pretty cool. Have not found a Falcons, have not found Tampa. So if you know Falcons fans or Tampa fans, they have a podcast, they want to collaborate together, I'm all for it. I'm all for the collaboration. But here we are. I'm honestly, this is not a normal episode. This is more or less, I'm here to hear what y'all think about as far as everything that's happened. And I can actually pull up this to make it easy. I'll try to share this so that we can all look at it together. So the new league year officially kicked off today. And so everything that we've heard about over the last like 2 or 3 days has come through. And so that goes back one, we already knew about the non-exclusive, but JJ Jansen, because he's already on the, technically here. So he re-signed, agreed to terms with Amir Smith-Marset, agreed to a 1-year deal with Troy Hill. So we knew about those. These things are just becoming official. Tendered running back Raheem Blackshear is an exclusive rights free agent. Then we get into the juice as far as what's happened over the past few days. Traded cornerback Dante Jackson and a 6th-round pick, number 178, to Pittsburgh for Deontay Johnson and a 7th-round pick number 240. I'm glad I don't have to actually go on TV to talk about Dante Jackson, Deontay Johnson, and Dane Jackson all together. I feel like I would lose track over what's what. I've got to say, this transaction here alone, I feel like is one of the best trades the Panthers have had in years. And going back, I was even listening to WFNZ today, local Charlotte sports radio. I don't remember if it was Kyle Bailey or if it was Wesson Walker, it might have been Wesson Walker, that they were feeling like whoever it was felt like this is one of the best trades we've had since possibly getting Greg Olson. And I know it's not like super flashy in comparison to maybe that, but I do side in that camp because you think about this. Dante Jackson was going to be gone. Like the report already leaked, whether we wanted it, he wanted it, whoever wanted to get it out, he was going to be cut or traded. So to take a player that's not going to be here, throw in a 6 round pick that honestly, who knows what you're really going to get out of that, to trade it to Pittsburgh for a wide receiver with separation ability, something we have all been clamoring for in Carolina, a wide receiver that can get open, that can run vertical routes, that can get separation, that can run deeper routes and just catch the ball, get yards after catch, things that we are not accustomed to. So I think that trade alone like shows me when I start thinking about like Scott Fitter and comparing, because Dan Morgan was here. I think that move alone really kind of set it for me. Like, okay, yeah, maybe we mean business. I mean, maybe you say we mean business when we go out and sign Robert Hunt or Damian Lewis, like right out of the gate, securing the interior of the offensive line. Like I would chalk that up there. Of course, the other trade, and we've got some updated information. So, one, our boy Brian Burns. Farewell to Brian Burns. Wish him the best. Although I did see a bit of the presser up there in New York today, and I don't know that he's going to miss us that much in Carolina. So, good riddance, man. Yeah, no, really. Like, I mean, I truly do appreciate him playing through the 5th year, through everything that happened, and like we never got it together down here. And I do wish him the best. But 5th round pick and Brian Burns, which is pick number 166, sent to New York in exchange for pick number 39, a 5th rounder, which is pick 141 this year. So we move up a little bit, not by much, but you move up a little bit when you swap those picks, and then a 2025 5th rounder. And I feel like all Panthers fans across the board, we know about what could have been, what should have been, what didn't happen, who wanted it, who didn't want it. People were for it, were not for it. But this is the position we were in. And when I say that, I'm talking about the Rams trade and or all the rumors that came along with that. Just didn't happen. Didn't happen. And for a minute, for like a day, I was like, or half a day, like just mad. Like right now in the presence that we did not get more in this trade. But again, listening to other folks kind of, give their view, it felt like it just had to be done. Like this is hey, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to clean this up. It might not be the best thing, but you think about the money that we could have paid Burns or would have paid Burns and what we were able to do in return, which is give Bryce Young a pocket. Give Bryce Young a pocket. People talk about, well, this is the Drew Brees model, smaller quarterback. Give this smaller quarterback two huge offensive linemen in the middle there to help him step up in the pocket. And I'm for it. Like, build around your quarterback. It's what we did not do last year. So give your quarterback a chance. So really pleased with that. And then you look across at these other signings, and I broke it down in the podcast, but a lot of these guys have ties to Jerry Vero. Defensive tackle Ashawn Robinson coming over, Josie Joel from the Broncos, O'Shea Robinson was with the Rams, Dane Jackson from Buffalo, which has ties to when Dan Morgan was there. I saw Mike Kay, Charlotte Observer. Shout out to Mike and all the content that he does as well, and Joe Person. I can't name everybody, but all the Panthers for writers and reporters. I saw him put out that Dane Jackson or Dan Morgan was the one pounding the table for Dane Jackson for them to draft him like way back in the day. I guess it'd say way back like 2020, whenever that was, 2021. Quite a bit of movement there. Let me hop over because I was sorry saying yes, it's Deontay. Sorry, I'm looking through the comments. Hey, thanks. Yeah, so I guess I'll throw it up there. It officially is my birthday for those that care or don't care. So it's a fun thing about the birthday that I have is always falls on, or usually ACC tournament. I'm an ACC guy, unfortunately. ACC tournament, March Madness. Now throwing in free agency with the NFL, so always fun things happen there. Reverend, sorry, I'm throwing yours up. I'm impressed. The fact we brought in so many Avero guys means one, we actually had a collaboration. Yep. Two, we had an actual plan ahead of time. I agree, man. I think that alone, that the way I was, and I talked about it just a minute ago on the pod that I recorded, that it felt like, okay, Ijero's losing the Burns, the Yator, the Frankie, and then he's bringing over some of the guys that he wants. And I'm like, if you're losing some of your best people, it's like coming into a new company and the best employees walk out the door where it's like, okay, well, let me open up my recruiting network and let me pull the people I've worked with and know can come work for me and do a good job. And that's kind of what we're getting. It's one of those things when I think about Ejiro too, just like I think it's still a question mark how long he's going to be here, not in a bad way, but I think each year it's going to be this question of is he leaving? But I don't think it should stop us from like leaning into him while he's here and what he's going to be able to provide for the team. And I'd say that because then you start thinking, well, then he's going to pull his staff, but I'm not going to. We're going to take it one day at a time, man. Always. And unfortunately, there were a few casualties on the team today. Released center Bradley Bozeman. Again, all these things we knew were coming. At least they had been reported, just official now. Safety Von Bell and tight end Hayden Hurst. I think Bell was the most shocking release for me. Felt, you guys, if you listen, heard me talk about Von Bell, and I was like, man, this is a good pickup last year, and probably the best one of the best out of the group that we brought in through free agency. But it's nice to see movement happening the way it is this year in comparison to last year. I mean, if you go back and look, like everything happening like day one, the way it is now, you can go back. This is on the Panthers website. You can track it other places, but I'd try to stay closer to the source on some of these just for accuracy and information. Like if you go back last year, new league year kicks off. What do? We tender Sam Franklin and sign Bradley Bozeman. Bradley Bozeman was already here, so we basically re-signed him. And then we release Pat Elfline. And then we start to see slowly people coming in. I broke down this free agency class in another video, I think earlier. It's just not great, man. So one thing I was going to look at quickly, and I was going to talk about a few more things. Curious how many people or spouses are watching the Love is Blind. I guess finale. I don't even know what it is. So there, I'm going to get to it. Doing a bingo. I don't understand it. A bingo card for whatever happens in the show, but it's like her best friend, my sister-in-law. I don't know how many of them are doing it, but they're doing bingo to watch Love is Blind as we talk about the Charlotte connection. Hold on one second. I'm going to stop sharing so that I can pull this up. And I was going to take a look at the updated draft picks, and it was reported. I just posted it or reposted it, and I don't know what I did with it. So give me a second, and I'll pull this up so we can address, or maybe not. Maybe this is just, oh my gosh. I was trying to go directly on the Panthers website, but doesn't look like it likes me too much. Here we go. It was too far back. Maybe I just tweet too much and I lost it. Hold on, I'll share my screen so y'all can see again. Oh yeah, I will. Well, I guess yeah. Before we talk about draft picks, I can. So Bernie says, any news on Chase Young? Do you think you have a chance at signing him and Clowney? I'd love for both of those guys to be here. I know some people may say they're not as high on Chase Young because of the injuries, how he hasn't been as proven. But I'm a big fan of both of those guys coming in. I was a fan of Clowney last year. We didn't bring in Clowney. We just weren't a serious team. Jadeveon Clowney, again, kind of closer. Yeah, Clowney had one of his best years. I was going to say, like, he had a better year than Brian Burns, statistically speaking. 9.5 sacks. Again, I know he played for the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens, a much better defensive team, much better team in general, although they couldn't get over the hump, and no one's still upset about that with the Chiefs. But yeah, I think you bring in a Jadeveon Clowney, you bring in a Chase Young. I know DJ Wanham, and I'm not saying that right, but I know he's also in the mix. I'd love for the tandem of Clowney paired with Young or DJ. I still think we're going to have to draft someone. So I guess it kind of segues a little bit. I'll talk about it in a second. So we also are starting to get a view into like the top 30 visits. So the top 30 visits, again, these are folks that the Panthers are choosing to bring in to Carolina as an official visit with the team. And if this is your first time, like last year was my first time really following this. So the NFL teams are limited to their top 30. This can be a range of players that they probably could draft, as well as guys that are going to be undrafted. So if you go back and it's not something teams have to publish, at least make available to everyone. So you kind of have to piecemeal this report with this report. I think Panthers Wire does the best job, at least they did last year, of kind of keeping track of like who was said they were going to visit or whatever. But I would use that as a resource. But you use this because it'll give you insights into who we potentially may draft. So if you go back and look last year, you had Bryce Young and Jonathan Mingo, which Bryce Young, obviously, like, duh, that one made sense. But Jonathan Mingo came for a top 30 visit. You also had two guys that were undrafted, which is Bumper Pool and Iku Leoto. We know Leoto ended up making it on the practice squad and then got called up later in the season, but Bumper Pool did not make it through training camp. But you'll also see those because they're during the top 30 visits, you are because when I looked last year at the top 30, I was like, why are we bringing in Bumper Pool, who is not projected to be drafted and just not even close to touching the board, a draft board? And sure enough, you find out that it's part of this is like a recruitment. So you're spending time like, hey man, if you don't end up being drafted, we think you should come here. And that's kind of the play that happens. But where I was going with that is Marshawn Nealand out of Western Michigan, who's like an edge outside linebacker, has come in. And then Brendan Rice has also been confirmed, again, wide receiver, as we talk about position of need there. So, all right, let me try to share this again so we can look at there we go. All right, so the officially updated picks for this year. So originally, when the New York Giants trade with Burns came through, I thought we were only doing a fifth round next year. So I was excited to see this. So not terrible. I mean, not fantastic. You don't have your first round, but you can still do a lot with this. I mean, you're talking about two picks within the top 40. There is potential. When I looked at a lot of the mock drafts, if a Bo Nix, Spencer Rattler, whoever is still available, if there's a team that needs a quarterback and they're desperate and they don't want him to fall, you could see a team trying to move up either pick 33 or 39 if we wanted to trade back and things make sense. But on paper, pick 33, pick 39 in the second round, pick 65 in round 3, 101 in round 4, and then back to back in round 5, and pick 240 in round 7. So 7 total picks. So even though we've shifted, traded some things away, don't have the first round pick, not a terrible spot. I'll take what we can get. The whole Pawn Stars, whatever. Best I can give you is $20 type model. That's kind of like I feel like, hey, I'm gonna take what we have and roll with this. So please see that. Now I'm going through my notes, and I don't think Boeing was. Oh, I have no idea. Good question. Oh yeah. So let me stop sharing there. How deep do the Tar Heels make it? Oh yeah, y'all know, but you got the Tar Heel back there. So that's a great question. I'd like to see how far we can make it in the ACC tournament first. But of course, as we do bracketology and all that, that every year, no matter what, I pick North Carolina to win it all because that's just how stupid I am. Speaking of which, kind of a good segue, and I'll get it sorted out this week. I am going to open up a two growls, one roar bracket, like a group. I don't know, probably ESPN, maybe CBS. I haven't decided, but I'm going to open it up one entry per person. So if you want to join, have some fun. I'm planning, if you end up whoever wins to give away either a shirt or a hoodie. Please support the podcast, but I'll open it up one entry per person. No money. I'm not collecting money. I'm not doing bets. You go bet wherever you want to bet. It's legal in North Carolina. I have not placed a bet still. I don't know that I ever will, but I don't want to tempt myself into getting into that chaos. So I'll keep my friendly family college football pick'ems as my outlet for all of that. Yeah, College of Charleston in, that's true. Yeah, I think we're here in Wilmington, and I think UNC Wilmington unfortunately got knocked out early, so they didn't have a shot. No other local schools too. I think App State lost early. Brett said, "I'd love to see wide receiver and center." Yeah, I'm not sold on Corbett. That's a good point. That was the other thing. Great, helping me remember half the stuff I was thinking. So yeah, I think looking at the offensive line, and I guess I can pull up my graphic here, or I'll try to pull it up in just a second. Maybe. I agree with you that I don't know if Austin Corbett's going to be sold. One of the things that I was talking about on the pod that I just did was it's looking back a year ago, not even 2 years ago, a year ago for me, probably a lot of Panthers fans, we were all excited about this offensive line having the tandem locked up for 2 years, and then now for everything to just be ripped apart. It's crazy how fast it moves, man. But I think we're going to definitely see a shakeup if I can get to it. I'll try to share my screen here. So I think some of these like second and third string guys that were brought on last year, there is pretty good chance that we're going to see some cuts, and you get to see the full chaos. Hopefully, this is going to load. So I've not updated. You can see I started. I added. It's taking a second to load, but I did add Hunt. Did not add Lewis here yet, so he'll be bumped down, and I put Austin. I don't know why this is not loading. Anyways, as this slowly loads, fortunately Bradley Bozeman gone. Uh, this is who's on the roster right now. So quite a bit of a shakeup that's going to have to happen. You look at a guy like Cade Mays, JD, Nash Jensen, Ricky Lee. Those guys are going to be fighting for a spot, and that's not even talking about bringing in someone through the draft and or undrafted free agents. You look at the class last year with Jensen, JD, I think even Ricky Lee, some of these guys that were not drafted ended up, vying and getting playing time and had a lot to do with injury. I think it's hard to say if I would throw Zavala in there because he was drafted last year, but hey, this coaching staff doesn't really have any ties with the team, so you never know who may be ripped out. So I do like your point though, as far as addressing center in the draft. Yeah, it's true, man. Oh my God, need to get Luke Combs on. So yeah, I don't think I've got the pool to bring on Luke as much as I would like it. He's fired up about Panthers on the Pat McAfee show. I saw those clips. That was pretty good. Um, God, there was something else I was gonna say with that, and I can't remember what it was. Oh well. Yeah, high chance Zach Frazier's gonna be there. I prefer Frazier, but would settle for Van Pond too. Good point. I agree. People do. Hey man, that's right. If he does McAfee, he's gonna jump all the hires for sure. Oh man, love it, right? Oh man. Well, I think it's close to calling it a night. So that's all I got, folks. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all have a good one.